If you are importing goods from China to Europe and you want to know what the shipment will really cost you, this video is for you because a lot of people only look at the product price, some look at the freight quota, but very few people calculate the full landed cost. And that is exactly where people get caught off guard. So in this video, I'm going to break the whole cost structure down for you step by step. We will use Romania as the example. But if you are importing into another EU country, the structure is almost the same. The number may change a bit, but the logic is exactly the same. And to make this practical, let's use a real scenario. Home goods, cargo value, $3,000, 140 HQ container. We are going to track the cost from the factory in China all the way to the warehouse store in Europe. Let's start at the beginning. Step 1. Factory to port in China. The first cost starts the moment your goods leave the factory. Once production is finished, the goods need to be moved from the factory to the port. That is your inland transport cost in China. For a 40 HQ container, a typical truck cost is around $1,100. Now this number depends on one simple thing: how far the factory is from the port. If the factory is close to a major port, the cost will be lower. If it is an inland province, the cost will usually be higher. So for step 1, you can use $1,300 as a working reference. Step 2. Sea freight to Romania. Next comes sea freight. From China to Constant Port in Romania, the current market reference for 40 HQ containers is usually around 2,500 to 3,000 euro. This part changes with the market, so never rely on an old quote. Always get a live rate before you make a final decision. So for step 2, budget around 2,500 to 3,000 US. Step 3, customs clearance. Once the goods arrive in Romania, they cannot enter the market immediately. They have to clear customs first, and this is where many importers start underestimating the real cost. First, import duty for the home goods. The EU import duty is often somewhere between 5% and 12%. It depends on the HS code. In this example, we will use a middle reference point of 8%. Your cargo value is $30,000 and 8%, your import duty will be about $2,400. And this is very important. If your product falls under anti-dumping duties, the cost can jump much higher. So before you place any order, you need to confirm the HS code properly. Do not guess, do not assume, and definitely do not wait until the goods arrive. Second, import VAT. Romania's VAT rate is 20% and it is applied to the cargo value plus the import duty. In this example, $30,000 for the goods plus $2,400 duty gives you the $32,400. When the 20% VAT on the amount comes to about $6,156. So for step 3, your customs related cost looks like this. Customs agent around 300 euro, import duty around $2,400, import VAT around $6,156. Step 4, port to warehouse in Europe. After custom clearance, the goods still need to get from the port to your warehouse. For a truck move from the constant port to the warehouse, including container unloading, a common reference is around 1,100 euros. Again, this depends on the fuel price, distance, and the final delivery location. But that is not the only cost here. You may also have extra port heading charges such as terminal fees, documentation fees, and in some cases, fumigation depend on the product. These charges are not always fixed, so they need to be quoted based on the actual shipment. So for step 4, use 1,100 euros as your transport reference, and remember that port charges are usually additional. Step 5, warehouse heading. Now the goods are the warehouse, but the cost does not stop there. A lot of people think once the container arrives, they are done. Not quite. Just unloading and devanning of 40 HQ containers can cost around 450 euros. And after that, the next cost depends on how your business operates. If you need sorting, relabeling, shelving, transit handling, or outbound preparation, those costs are added on top. As a reference, for secondary restocking or transit operations, costs can start from €1 per unit. For directly fulfillment, cost can start from around €0.5 per pieces. So for step 5, you can start with €450 for unloading and then add handling costs based on your actual operation. Now let's put everything together. Factory to port in China around $1,300. Sea freight about $2,500 to $3,000. Import duty about $2,400. Import VAT about $6,156. Customs agent fee about €300. Port to warehouse truck about €1,100. Warehouse unloading about €450. Port heading charges additional. So what does that mean in real terms? If you buy $30,000 worth of home goods in China, by the time that shipment purchase your warehouse in Romania, your total landed cost is not $30,000. It is much closer to $45,000 to $48,000. And depending on the port charge and the final handling, it can move toward $50,000. That is the real number you need to understand. Because the real cost of importing is not just the factory price, and it is not just the freight code. It is the full chain, from factory to customs to warehouse. That is your real landed cost. These numbers are reference points. Every shipment is different. Your product category, your HS code, your packaging destination, and your handling needs will all affect the final cost. But if you want to know what your own shipment would actually cost, send us a message on WhatsApp. The link is in the description. We will give you a real quote based on your actual cargo. See you in the next video.